Alright, today I'm going to show you how you can take a built-in indicator in cTrader. So this is just the EMA here, and then turn it into your own custom version. So if I just delete this basic one here, and this is the modified version, so you can see that it's got a blue upward sloping line, and if the line's sloping downwards, it turns to pink. So, and obviously you can change these options if you want to, different colors and so on, just as you would a normal EMA. And you can do this with pretty much any built-in indicator. So I'm going to show you how to do this today. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is make a new indicator. And we can name it whatever we want to. I'm going to call mine moving average rainbow. And then we're going to edit it in Visual Studio. And the first thing we're going to do is change this to be an overlay on the chart. If we don't do this, then it's going to show in a separate window, which is not what we want for a moving average. And then next thing we're going to do is reference the indicator. So I'm just going to make a new region here. You don't have to do this, you don't have to make a new region, but it does help organize your code a little bit better. And if you have a big file, then this is quite important to do, I think. So the indicator that we're referencing today is the exponential moving average. So you have to know these names, but you can look them up if you don't know them. So then when it's initialized, we need to call it here. We need to initialize it here rather. So you can see all the different options here. Obviously we're going to choose exponential moving average. And then if we look at the constructor, we can see that it takes two inputs here, the source and the periods. So that would be just the same if you made an indicator or just put an indicator on the chart, right? So what we're going to do here is create some parameters. And these are the inputs that you see when you make the indicator, or when you put the indicator on the chart, rather. So you can see that it gives you one by default here. We're going to copy and paste that in and then modify it as we need to. So the source is a data series type. You can just call that source. And then in the quotation marks here, we can put whatever we want to reference it. I'm just going to call it source. You don't have to name it the same thing as the property here. And I'm going to create another one for the periods here. And that's going to be an int type. But before that, I'm going to set the default value to be 20, capital D. You don't have to set a default value, but I'm going to set one anyway. So that's all we need in the parameters. Then we're going to create a new region for the output. Now the output is the actual lines that are drawn on the chart. So you can see that it gives you one by default here. And the trick to this is that instead of one output, as you would normally have in an EMA, I'm going to create two outputs. And then I'm going to show the output that we want, depending on the condition. And then the other one will be hidden. So that's the trick that we have here. And if you want to do this, you have to do a discontinuous line as the plot type. Because if you don't do that, then it's going to connect the lines even if you have no value there. And it ends up being a mess on the chart. So I've got two here, one called bull, one called bear. And then all that's left is to create the logic that determines which one we're going to see. So we're checking the value of the EMA at the index. So at the latest candle is what this will be. So if it's bigger than the previous value, then we do something, otherwise we do something else. So now we're setting our output for the bull result to be the EMA, if that's true, right? If it's larger than its previous value, then we're going to show the bull value. And we're also going to show the value for the previous index. And the reason for that is to create a line, you need 2 points. So you just need to use the previous point as well. And then the bear result is going to be not shown. So the way that you do that is you set it to not a number. And then if we just copy and paste this into the else, and just change everything over. So everything that was bool is now bear, and vice versa. And that should be all we need to do for this one. So this one was quite simple, but I wanted to give you a simple one to start with. Okay, so if we just create an instance of it after building it, just going to put on a template. Now you can see that we didn't change the default value for the colors. You can do that, but we didn't do that this time. So we're going to have to change them manually here. So we're going to go for blue and pink. Make them a bit thicker if we want. And you can see that it's working out pretty nicely. You can see it on there. And it seems to work. The logic seems to work pretty nicely. We can change the periods if we want. You wouldn't usually change the source, but you can do that if you want to. And you can do this for other indicators as well, of course. So I'm going to show you one that I've done earlier. This is the MACD crossover. So you can see what I've done here is I've just taken the MACD output and plotted that. But we've got the same kind of idea of if the MACD is positive, then it's one color, and if it's negative, it's a different color. And we can change all of these values if we want. Slightly more complicated. You can see there's a few more outputs, but the same basic idea. So that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.